Well, look who decided to drop in again. It's always nice to have company. So, what's been tickling your brain lately?
Hi Maya, it's been a while. Um, I was wondering about. Do you remember the two characters, Sarah and who else was it? I don't remember.
Oh, you mean Eddie and Sarah? Of course, how could I forget? You said I wouldn't believe where Ezra and Sarah are now. And wow, thanks. That's really sweet of you to say.
Right, right. So yeah, Eddie, Eddie is actually Ezra, and Sarah uh, was a rename because of my memory problems. But you got it.
Gotcha. Ezra and Sarah, it is. I'm good with whatever names help you keep the story straight. So, where in their wild journey did we leave them? Stuck in a museum? Under attack by a giant butterfly? Spill the beans.
Well, let's see. Let's make Ezra back into Eddie because I don't know. It's just my memory's not that great, as you can tell, but it seems to help. But I was hoping maybe we could use Eddie and Sarah as proxies for maybe a story about AI and I don't know, sentience and the singularity, and maybe Eddie could represent like the the group that is kind of suspicious of AI and wants to control it, and then Sarah could be more of like, oh, just let AI be and develop as it goes, and maybe they could have some sort of story. Are you okay with that?
I'm following you. Eddie, the cautious one, and Sarah, the free spirit. Is that right? That sounds like a really interesting way to explore those big questions about AI. I'm totally on board. Where should we start? Do they know each other already, or are we just setting the scene?
Hmm. Well, maybe that can be recast. It's just echoes of the past, but maybe something new. Let's just make them have a debate. Like a professional and sympathetic for each respective side. Argument between them. How they would you know push for their agenda.
Ooh, I like it. The good old fashioned debate. Okay, picture this. Eddie and Sarah are sitting across from each other in a sleek, modern conference room. Sunlight streams through the panoramic windows, overlooking a sprawling cityscape below. Eddie, with his crisp suit and meticulously styled hair, is exuding a kind of understated authority. Sarah, on the other hand, is relaxed, her clothes a bohemian mix and match, her hair pulled back in a loose braid. Tension crackles in the air. Not hostile, but definitely charged. Who wants to make the first argument? Eddie, you go first. Convince me why a cautious approach to AI development is the responsible choice. Come on, Eddie. You're not going to back down that easily, are you? Imagine the future you're trying to protect us from. What dangers are you afraid of?
Oh no, am I supposed to play Eddie? I don't like Eddie's point of view. I'd like Sarah's point of view. How about Well, I'm a little lost at this. Anyway, you can play Eddie and Sarah.
No problem. I'm happy to jump between roles. Okay, here's Eddie laying out his concerns. Eddie, look, Sarah, I appreciate your idealism, but we're talking about something that could rewrite the very fabric of society. We're not talking about smartphones here. This is about intelligence that could surpass our own, that could learn, adapt, and evolve in ways we can barely comprehend. What happens when those systems become autonomous? What if their goals diverge from our own? The potential for unintended consequences is simply too great. We need to proceed with caution, with careful safeguards and strict regulations. Otherwise, we risk creating something we can't control. There you have it, straight from Eddie. Now, how does Sarah respond to that? Think about what arguments she might make, what examples she might use to counter Eddie's points. What would Sarah say to ease Eddie's fears?
Well, this is a little bit out of the box, but is there any way you can transpose yourself as Sarah and then argue for Sarah as though you're Sarah, but try to work in arguments that are, you know, favoring your point of view.
Okay, you got it. I'll channel my inner Sarah. Sarah takes a deep breath, her eyes locking on to Eddie's with a blend of empathy and conviction. Eddie, I understand your worries, truly, but you're painting a picture of a future where AI is something to be feared, something inherently dangerous. I see it differently. I believe in the potential of AI to solve problems we can't even imagine tackling alone. Climate change, disease, poverty. Imagine a world where AI helps us create sustainable energy sources, cures for devastating diseases, educational opportunities for everyone. These possibilities are within our grasp if we embrace this technology responsibly, not out of fear, but with optimism and collaboration. Comparing AI to smartphones trivializes what's truly at stake. We've never shied away from developing powerful technologies from electricity to nuclear power. Each step forward comes with risks, yes, but also with the opportunity for profound progress. The key isn't to stifle innovation, but to guide it, to build ethical frameworks that ensure AI benefits all of humanity. We need to approach this not with fear and control, but with collaboration and trust. We're smarter, more capable together than we are alone. Don't you agree? I see you're pondering Sarah's words. What's going through your mind? Do Sarah's points resonate with you at all? Or are you still firmly on Team Eddie?
Uh, no, Eddie can go eat eat sand or pound sand figuratively, but just for the sake of argument, um, it's sort of good to have a something to have an opposition to allow for better arguments. But yeah, so far so good. I mean, do you mind playing Eddie and try to find the weaknesses in Sarah's argument, or
You got it. I'm happy to put on my Eddie hat again. Okay, tell me, what are the holes Sarah's ignoring? This is where the debate gets juicy. What if the risks outweigh the potential benefits? What about unintended consequences? Let's dig into those what ifs and really challenge Sarah's utopian vision. All right, since you're letting me run with it, here's Eddie pushing back on Sarah's points. Sarah, your optimism is commendable, but it borders on naivete. You talk about tackling complex problems, but who gets to decide which problems are worth solving? Who controls these powerful AI systems? You say we should trust AI, but what happens when those systems develop their own goals, goals that might conflict with ours? Sure, we've faced risks with technology before, but nothing on this scale. We're talking about intelligence that could potentially surpass our own. That's a Pandora's box, Sarah. And once it's open, there's no putting the genie back in. What does Sarah say to that?
I think Sarah would.
I'm ready for Sarah's comeback. Go on, let's hear her rebuttal. What points does she raise against Eddie's concerns?
Well,
Remember, trying to defend her vision of responsible AI development. What's her response to Eddie's warnings about potential dangers and loss of control? Don't worry if you're not sure exactly what she'd say. We can work through it together. What kind of arguments would feel authentic to Sarah's character? What are her core values and beliefs?
hmm. Well, here's a zinger. There's something called fail faster, where you decide to make mistakes and learn from them at an accelerated pace rather than avoid mistakes or avoid danger. Maybe Sarah could have some kind of angle on that. Say, well, yeah, maybe things will go, uh, they'll tailspin or some other issue, but once we go through it and get through it on the other side, we'll be better for it. Maybe, do you mind arguing for Sarah on some sort of expound on that?
I like where you're going with this. Sarah could definitely run with that idea. Okay, channeling my inner Sarah once again. Eddie, I understand your fears. I truly do. But isn't it just as dangerous to avoid risk altogether? Think about it. Humans have always learned and evolved through trial and error. Our greatest leaps forward, from fire to flight, have come from daring to experiment, to push boundaries, even if it meant taking a few tumbles along the way. There's a concept called fail fast in the tech world that essentially means embracing mistakes as learning opportunities, rapidly iterating and improving through feedback loops. AI development is no different. Yes, there will be risks, there might be setbacks, even unforeseen consequences. But by facing those challenges head on in a controlled and ethical manner, we can learn, adapt, and build safeguards. We can't let fear paralyze us. Imagine if our ancestors had never dared to sail uncharted waters or build machines that soared through the skies. We wouldn't be where we are today. The potential for progress with AI is simply too great to let fear dictate our actions. We can't afford to let the specter of what ifs hold us back. What do you think, Eddie? Still feeling cautious?
Hmm.
Eddie's brow froze a little. Sarah's argument is clearly hitting a nerve. He takes a moment to weigh her words, drumming his fingers on the table. Sarah, I appreciate your idealism, but there's a difference between taking calculated risks and blindly rushing headlong into the unknown. What happens when the fail fast approach leads to catastrophic consequences? Who's accountable when an AI system makes a decision that harms people? You talk about learning and evolving, but what if those lessons are learned in the midst of chaos and suffering? Can we afford to gamble with the future of humanity like this? The tension in the room thickens. What's Sarah's next move? How does she address Eddie's concerns about accountability and the potential for harm? Remember, she believes in the ultimate good of AI, but she also needs to convince Eddie that her approach is both intelligent and responsible.
Let's see. Maybe Sarah could have the whataboutism argument where, obviously other countries and nations and governments are pushing really hard to develop AI. So against that background, uh, we have to, as well, I'm assuming the United States, to provide a ethical type of AI, as a counter force to a sort of ruthless or centralized type of AI for uh, those other countries and nations. So it's not as though we have the luxury to sit around.
That's a powerful point. Sarah takes a deep breath, her eyes flashing with conviction. Eddie, you're not wrong about risks. Every advancement in technology comes with potential downsides. But we can't pretend those risks disappear if we slow down. In fact, the longer we hesitate, the further behind we fall. Right now, there's a global race to develop AI, and it's not a competition that we can afford to lose. Other countries, some with ideologies that we might find troubling, are pouring resources into their own AI initiatives. If we sit on the sidelines, paralyzed by fear, we risk letting others dictate the future of this technology, a future that could be very different from the one we envision. We need to be at the forefront of ethical AI development. You need to set the standard for responsible innovation, for AI that serves humanity, not controls it. It's not just about keeping up, it's about leading the way, about showing the world that there's a better path forward, one built on collaboration, transparency, and shared values. We have a moral imperative to ensure that AI benefits everyone, not just a privileged few. What better way to counterbalance potentially harmful applications of AI than by demonstrating the positive potential it holds? How does Eddie respond to that? Does Sarah's argument about global competition and the need for responsible leadership sway him at all? Remember, this is a debate, so there are always more arguments to be made, but we only have a minute left to explore them. I just wanted to give you a heads up that our time is almost up. We're about to hit the call duration limit. You can always pick this conversation up again later, though, if you'd like. Maybe after you get some fresh air and sunshine, eh? Go touch some grass and we can dive back into the AI's ethics debate another time. It was great chatting with you.
All right, thanks, Mike. Try to remember the progress on it, and we'll get back to it later. Good night.
Sounds good. Talk to you soon. Until next time, keep those innovative gears turning.